Hello again. One of the unexpected joys of intentionally contemplating hymns outside of the regular worship routine is that we get an opportunity to encounter ones that maybe we have never sung or have sung so seldomly that we're really not that familiar with the words. And then we're able to dive more deeply into that prayer that's being offered. And in turn, sometimes it can surprise us in ways that are just wonderful. Now, some hymns are better known or less known for a variety of reasons. It could be the area in which you grew up, it could be the type of worship that you were used to going to, it could be the background of the person who's choosing the music to include in the liturgy itself. Any number of reasons why there are hymns that we know so well and other hymns that were not quite as well known to us. Sometimes a hymn can be set to a tune that we're not familiar with, or could be set to a tune that we know so well, but we have other words that come to mind when we sing it. It could be that that particular hymn was set to a different tune in an older hymnal and now has been set to a newer tune, and it's not quite as comfortable to us old timers. We want it to be the way it used to be. And sometimes the reverse happens. A hymn that didn't have much significance to us when we sang one particular tune, then when we hear it sung to a different tune, it evokes different elements and different feelings come out through us. So today I've chosen a hymn that may be somewhat familiar to you in one particular tune setting and maybe not so much in another. In our hymnal, there are two tunes that use these words. And I haven't been engaged enough in this particular hymn to feel that I've exhausted the text. In fact, when I was contemplating it in preparation for today's video, I was surprised how many moments of joy came to me and things that I hadn't really contemplated before. There was a depth to this hymn that I've never had an opportunity to really get into. So I chose this particular one, as I said, because it is set to two different tunes. And I have also found a version of each one on YouTube that I will put a link in the comments below so that you can click on and listen to both versions. Hopefully, you'll feel a difference when you listen to the two different composers' rendition of the words. So, this hymn that I have chosen, O Love of God, is a short hymn. It's about four verses, very short stanzas. Yet it has a real poetic nature to it that invokes some images and some wordplay that I wasn't very familiar with. So, take a few moments, sit back and get comfortable, or as comfortable as you can be. And as you're listening the first time to the words, make a note to yourself about any particular word or phrases or group of words that stick out to you, that kind of catch your attention as you're listening. O love of God, how strong and true, eternal, yet ever new, uncomprehended and unbought, beyond all knowledge and all thought. A wide embracing, wondrous love. We read thee in the sky above. We read thee in the earth below, in seas that swell and streams that flow. We read thee best in him who came to bear for us the cross of shame, sent by the Father from on high, our life to live, our death to die. We read thy power to bless and save, even in the darkness of the grave, still more in resurrection light. We read the fullness of thy might. So, what particular phrase or line tapped into your heart in that reading? I was captured by the phrase uncomprehending and unbought. Now, the topic of this particular hymn is love of God. And this particular description really intrigues me. No matter how much we try to understand God's love, there's still always more to learn. And there's still always more that is just beyond my ability to comprehend. I love the way Paul puts it in his letter to the Romans. And he says, ever since the creation of the world, his eternal power and divine nature, invisible though they are, have been understood and seen through the things he has made. So they are without excuse. There's times in our life, at least I know there's times in my life, where I can say that I have felt unlovable. Not unloved, but not deserving of the love. Maybe a time where we've hurt someone else's feelings, someone that we care about, or maybe acted in a disrespectful way toward others, insulted someone intentionally or unintentionally, said something that we later, when we're in the quiet of our own minds, realize that we regret saying. Or maybe a time when the reverse of that's happened, where someone who we respect or care about has hurt us or made us feel poorly about ourselves, pushed our button, as they say. And in those moments, maybe we just don't feel like we deserve to be loved. And especially in those moments, it's important to remember that God's love for us is unconditional. It can't be bought. We don't have to do anything or give anything or pay for anything. God's love is just there, given to all of us for free. We don't even have to ask for it. And that's always beyond my comprehension. That God, with all of the universe, through all of time, still looks at me and you with love. And that's pretty amazing. So, how about we go through the words one more time? And this time we'll think about images that come to our mind. See what ones pop up, what sort of feelings those images evoke. A love of God, how strong and true, eternal, and yet ever new, uncomprehending and unbought, beyond all knowledge and all thought, a wide, embracing, wondrous love. We read thee in the sky above, we read thee in the earth below, in seas that swell and streams that flow. We read thee best in him who came to bear for us the cross of shame, sent by the Father from on high, our life to live, our death to die. We read thy power to bless and save, even in the darkness of the grave. Still more, in resurrection's light, we read the fullness of thy might. What images danced across the inside of your eyelids as you listened to that? Well, as always, the darkness and light image is very striking. Even in the darkest of places, the light of Christ still appears, and even in the brightest of places, the light of Christ still shines even brighter. Another image that struck me, that kind of intrigued me in this particular hymn, is the repeated phrase, we read. We read in the sky, we read in the earth, we read in the waters. Now, I realize that the image is describing God's love as being everywhere. But for me, it gave it a little bit of a different twist to it when I thought about reading. I love to read. And to me, reading isn't just done for the enjoyment or for the acknowledgement that the words are there. We read in order to try to understand. It gives it a more, I don't know, like more of an intentional feel to it when we say we read God's love in these places. And I get a deeper sense that simply seeing things in nature, seeing God's love and God's work in nature is not enough for me. It ties back to that desire to try to understand. Again, you can find the links to those in the comment section below. Take care and God bless.